take every word as an invitation to go deeper within yourself. And just for this evening, I challenge you to be open to what I'm about to tell you. It's not a sweet pill I'm offering, for sure. You will leave with guilt, shame. That's my specialty. But when guilt and self-curiosity and introspection is for the service of awakening, I'm all for it. This talk will meld and blend symbolism and mindfulness and the beast of the ego and concepts that may seem a bit out there for you, but take a leap with me, walk with me, and fly off the cliff with me. So I'm going to take you first to one of the most profound experiences that I've had in my life, maybe only second to meeting His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And why was meeting His Holiness so profound, besides the obvious, was two things. The first was when he came into the room and we all stood up. He came in bowing, and so we bowed. And the lower we bowed, the lower he bowed. So we were in a competition right off the bat because we're like, we're going to bow lower than you. And we're going to see how low you... And he just kept bowing lower till we stopped because we couldn't keep up with him. To be a testament to the fact that no matter how great the teacher, they are always bowing low in humility to learn. And the second thing he taught me that day was every time he was asked a question about the Chinese and the opposition of the Chinese, and we were expecting some sort of radical answer, he would just keep saying, I don't understand what you want me to say. I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't understand what you mean by anger. And he opened to me the idea that the vocabulary doesn't exist. So if the vocabulary doesn't exist, the belief system doesn't exist. And if the belief system doesn't exist, the reaction doesn't exist. And if the reaction doesn't exist, then the being state is completely free of what we were trying to contaminate him with. So it is with us and our children. I will show you in a moment. So one of the most profound experiences, second to the Dalai Lama, was when I observed a mandala ceremony. A mandala ceremony is a ceremony done by Buddhist monks where they create something, grain of sand by grain of sand, and produce the most intricate architecture of sand-created designs, intricate beyond belief. So for days, hunched back, huddled together in complete silence, one grain of sand after another gets created and blown into place to magnanimously form an intricate whole. And as I would watch them day after day, I would observe the train of my racing thoughts. Oh God, how long is this going to take? When will it be over already? What? They don't even make one mistake. I could never be like this. This is impossible. This is too much. Hurry, hurry, take a picture, put it on Facebook. And the litany of my inability to be still was quite apparent. And then was the grand finale, and it was done. And of course, the day it was done, everyone shows up in droves because we only like the end product of any arduous journey. We only want to get to the end, put our kids to sleep. Let's just get them to college. Let's just make sure that they survive their childhood. So in the same way, we gathered in droves on the final day, pretending like we had participated in the journey, but really had not, and stood there to celebrate. Surely there would be a grand celebration after these weeks of arduous, painstaking sand upon sand upon sand. So we stood first in line, all of us pushing the other one out, trying to be serene, but really edging everyone away. And every possible screen was ready to videotape this monumental celebration, I so thought. And they came. And there was a little bit of pomp and show, a little bit of horn blowing and anticipatory humming and singing, and we were at the edge of our seats. And then they took a brush, quite like the one in my own unimaginative, ordinary kitchen, and they just did this. And then they did this, and they did this, and it disappeared. What? What? My inner voice, my ego protested. How can you do that to this beautiful thing? We needed to take pictures, I didn't video it, and there needed to be a goodbye grieving process till we meet again. We needed to have a conversation. Things can't just be ended in such a harsh way. And so it was, and that was the end of it. Undocumented, uncelebrated, end of a vast journey. So why do they do this? Pointless, in my opinion. Completely pointless. What is the point? If it's not archived, if it's not pedestalized, if it's not well documented and remembered year after year, what is the point? The point is that in the moment, you're present. And in the moment, you contribute to the whole. And in the moment, you're completely focused to just that drop of sand that you will contribute to the whole. And then, when it's time to be dissolved and let go of, you do it with complete detachment. The moment is gone. No, nothing. And I wanted to take my hands and go, no, let's put it together a little bit. But it's gone. Only plumes of smoke lie in its wake. So what is the point, I ask myself? The point is that if the moment is over, it is over. That you are just a grain of sand in this whole we call life, or the whole of your child's life. And if you don't, with intent and focus on just that grain of sand with humility, also knowing that that grain of sand contributes, but only as much as a grain of sand can, then you will attach yourself to the past, to the future that really don't exist. Last night at dinner with my daughter, a beautiful New York summer night, and already the movie of my fantasy was in fast forward. I created the whole night. We were going to have this amazing meal, the first of many summer nights. We would bond, we would converse, we would connect, maybe throw in a game of frisbee I dared to imagine in my movie, and heartfelt conversations. So first my daughter comes with her phone. I could just see the movie crumbling in front of my eyes. But determined was I to keep the movie playing. I said very sweetly, saccharinely, falsely, fake voice, "Can you please take away that phone?" And she said, "I can't. I'm doing something very important," which is the stock answer of any teenager with their phone. They're working, you see, just like we work when we tell them we're on Facebook. So she said that to me. And I said, "No, you need to take away that phone now, because this is not a family moment. This is not what we do when we're together. This is not contributing to the family, and this is not good manners." And I was watching my feathers plume bigger and bigger as I went higher and higher in my parental ignorance, thought it was a pedestal. And she just kept saying, "Mom, just give me 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. I'm in the middle of something. I'm in the middle of something." And I could watch myself at the precipice of the choice that we get to make every minute and often fail making the right one. Should I let it go? Should I sink into this moment? Should I just surrender? Should I dare say have patience? Or the ever-present ego, which says, "How dare she? How could she? She's ruining my movie. She doesn't understand that if I let her do this, then I would be telling her that she could do drugs and do pedal drugs and then fail, and then she'll just then it's just downward, straight to homelessness." So what is the choice I'm going to make? And I could see myself being pulled, seduced by the ego, pulled by stillness, seduced, but it's a losing battle. You know already, right? You know who's going to win. And so I got up. When we get up, that means we're out of control. So I get up and I say, "I cannot believe you're doing this. This is my movie. This is my night. This is the beginning of summer. We were supposed to have a moment." I did not say that. I just pleaded with her, like, "Don't do this to me, because then I'm going to do something to you." And she said, "I cannot believe I cannot even get 5 minutes." And the horrendous chutzpah of this girl. She got up and walked out, leaving me mouth agape, completely hapless and helpless. Again, on the next precipice of the choice, now what shall be done to this child? What can I take away? What can I threaten her with? What can I sue her with? What? What is my power right now? But because I have thankfully done a smidgen of mindfulness every day and improved the muscle within to know that if I continue with the beast of the ego and if I get swallowed by that beast, which will take me to her room, which will allow me to feel righteous in storming in, I have every right. She violated a family rule after all. She was ill-mannered. The evidence is clear. There is no therapist who would not take my side. I would storm into the room. I would grab that phone. I would yank it from her. I would say something with the finger pointing out, something doomsday-like about her, her future next 5 weekends, and declare it and leave the room. And then for a moment I would feel so powerful. But because I've done that a million times and know that after that, when the ego gets deflated and then I'm left with the cleanup of the vomit that I've now spewed on my child, I know that that cleanup is worse than engaging in the ego. So now I know, think before you do it. Do you want to clean this up for the next few days? Do you want to hear about it in therapy? She'll say, at the age of 30, remember that day? It was the beginning of summer. I just wanted 5 minutes. So I'm looking down the line, and I'm not paying for that therapy session. So now I'm thinking, do I want to be seduced? Do I want to clean this up? Do I want to create disconnection? And then I have to gape in the mirror, that is the eternal reflection provided by every relationship, but so greatly by our children, that mirror that's just staring down, and you look at yourself and you say, what is more important right now? Is my way, even though it looks so good, is it really that important because I'm causing pain because of it? Is my agenda so important? Is my movie so important? Are manners right now so important? What if she is going through something and I'm belittling it? What if? And suspended in that what ifness, suddenly my heart began to melt. And once I was back in my heart, I knew now I can go talk to my daughter. But I have to be really cemented in the heart, because if I am in the beast of the ego, in the belly of the ego, I will only mess it up. No matter that she messed it up, but I will mess it up more. You have all been there, where it was bad, but you made it terrible. Where it was painful, but you made it sinful. Where you took it to the last limit, where you said things that need not ever have been said. Because we entered the belly of the beast of our ego. So once I entered my heart, I went back to her, very timidly knocked on the door. Can I come in? Yes. So I walked in, and I sat by her, and she looked up at me, and she said, I cannot believe dinner and food is more important than what I'm going through. I said, food is always more important than what you're going through. I cannot believe you don't understand. In the history onyx of a 13-year-old, only they can do it at that hysterical level. What don't I understand? I am going through so much. And she showed me text after text of social politics. And then when I surrendered and I hugged her and I said, I forget what it is to be 13. And I forget that food isn't really that important. And my need for you to be with me is my need, and it's my movie under the grand canopy of a summer night, all mine. And if I can be flexible, you will join me, but it has to be on both our terms. And when I let go, she came back into the fold, and we did have a night, but it was a night that could have gone drastically wrong. So here we are as parents, always on that precipice of a moment about to go drastically wrong. And the only way I have found to stop, to take a pause, is to revolutionize what it means for me to be a parent. This is not about being mindful on Tuesday and I escaped that storm on Friday, or look at me, I didn't say any bad words all day. No, this is not about some random acts of mindfulness that I'm proposing here. I am asking you now today to rethink what it means to be a parent. I'm asking you to completely shift in your belief system. Everything you thought was true, I will now show you may not be so. And it is only when I, belief system after belief system, discarded everything I knew to be true, only now, after 13 years of being a parent and countless hours of self-introspection, self-awareness, and working with other people, have I come to understand that what stood in the way of me and my daughter and me and my highest self was misbeliefs around what it meant to be a parent. Now let me tell you what I mean by that. There is no task, and you know this, more sacred than a parent's task, correct? No task more sacred, right? Is there anything more important in the world than raising a child? Yet, we are all given unqualified access, right? There's no license, there's no exam, there's no, I think the course should be called Certificate of Completion of Self, right? I mean, you have to complete yourself before you have a child. Because we're having children. Why do we have children? Do you remember why you had a child? Do you remember? Why did you have a child? No, really. Why did you have a child? Anyone? You've read this in my books. I talk about it all the time. Why did you have a child? Because you were supposed to. Why else? Why else did we have children? Anyone? It was a surprise. So I wasn't prepared enough. What was I thinking, right? Okay, who else? Why did you have a child? Yes, ma'am. Because I wanted to do better than my parents. So she's in this competition against her parents already. Okay. Because I wanted to give love. Why else did we have children? To continue our lineage, to continue our legacy, because I wanted to do it better than my mother, because I wanted to give love. And what you hear in these answers is what? I, right? So we are entering the journey with some need that is our own, correct? But no one tells us, oh, you're so selfish. You're having children just for yourself? Did you ever hear that? No, what are we told on the contrary? What a selfless thing it is to have children, correct? So here we are drinking this Kool-Aid. I call it the parenting Kool-Aid. We're all having the same color, same chemistry in this Kool-Aid because we're all thinking we are benevolent beings by bestowing on this earth, possibly, quite possibly, the next person who cures cancer. Quite possibly, it could happen. Any kid in this audience, though, on their way there? Any of your kids on their way to curing cancer? Oh, darn it. But maybe the next 1,000 parents, one of those children will be the one who cures cancer. So here we are thinking we're benevolent. Certainly we're doing everyone a service. And we're told by culture, the more you have, the holier sometimes, or the more you have, the more, I don't know, holy, grand, competent, more together you are, more stable you are. So here you are, you go off on this journey and you have these children. The delusion is that you are doing them a favor. Embedded in that delusion is the idea that you know what you're doing. Embedded is the idea that you have the control over them to raise them and to make them who you need them to be. Nowhere are we told that no, parenting is not natural. Please don't think it's just because it's biological doesn't mean it's natural. You're not going to know how to raise this being, nor should you know how to raise this being, because when you think you know, that is the grand, scary, tragic delusion. You don't know. Therefore, you should learn. Therefore, you should undertake an eternity of curiosity. You should undertake humility. You should say, I don't know, child. Teach me who you are. But because we enter with the pedestal of knowing, and we're told that it's natural, every parent knows, I tell parents, no, it's instinctual. But instinctual is primitive. Instinctual is just old. It's archaic. Now, intuitive is the mix of what comes natural, which is an open heart, which is a natural desire to sacrifice, mixed with mindfulness, mixed with awareness, mixed with wisdom. So we don't know who our children are, nor should we know, because they are beings that are changing every moment, and they're beings here to march to their own beat. But when we think we know, what do we do then? Then we slap onto them all our knowing. I know what's best for you. So I know that, yeah, even though you're not going to thank me right now, at the age of 2, I'm going to slap you into a tutu, and I'm going to take pictures and show you how cute you are, and I'm going to tell you that you are a ballerina now. Or at the age of 6, you may not thank me right now, but when you're 45, you will thank me. I'm going to make you spend hours and hours doing activity X or study X, because later you will thank me because I know that this is who you are. And so children grow up and then they start, elbowing against what we tell them they are. No, I'm not that, Mom. Oh, you're a bad kid. You're disobedient. You're defiant. Off we go to therapy. And I'm going to go get my Starbucks, but you go get fixed. And then the kid says, no, Mom, I'm really not who you think I am. I really think I'm somebody else. Or can I at least discover who I am? And we're like, we don't have time. We don't have time. There's no time. What is this thing called childhood? We have to race to adulthood. So what do we do with our children? One activity after the other, and then one honors after the other. And then, why stop there, we say? Why stop there? Let's do half of college in high school. Why stop there? Straight to a Ph.D., straight to an MD, straight to an acronym that makes us feel good about who we are. So here children come into the world. They don't understand that they're coming into a prescribed idea of who they are. It's already predetermined. It's predestined. You're not sitting here as a parent spending thousands of dollars on this child to wait for them to unfold. No, you're not taking that risk. You're like, no, we don't have time to. When I tell parents, don't do anything with your kid in a scheduled way till they're 6. Why waste your money? Go travel the world. They go, till 6? We have to wait till they're 6? I go, yeah, it kind of takes time for a personality to show itself forth. But go ahead if you want to buy them new violins and new cleats and spend your money on fancy schools, not even knowing whether it's a match to your kid, go ahead. So y'all are going ahead. Depleted, tired, stressed out, and now the expectations are high because the stakes are high by the age of 6. So this delusion that we know what we're doing, delusion number 1. Second delusion, that parenting is about raising a child. What does that mean? Embedded in these notions are deadly and toxic belief systems, which I need for you to start popping one balloon after the other. Parenting is about raising the child. Inherent in that is the idea that parents know how to raise a child, right? So let's just put that way out on the sidewalk because that is so not even a valid statement. How do we know how to raise this being when we have barely raised ourselves? How do we know how to raise this being who is here to be abundantly whole in the present moment? That means we have to meet them in the present moment. That means we should be able in our own bodies to sit in the present moment. Just like the Buddhist monk who put one grain after the other, and I couldn't stand it. I was like, hurry up already. Just like that, our children put one grain before them, and they hearken us to the present moment. And all we do is displace them, abduct them, and catapult them from the present moment into a predetermined future that we have decided is going to be for their benefit. And what are the qualities of that future, let me ask you, because we all have the same dreams for our children. That our kids will be successful, happy. And do you know that the order is the same in every audience? First is success, second is happy. Even those who want to fake it, they can't fake it. They're like, no, success first. then happy. And then, of course, they forget that they're talking to a psychologist. They're like, no, 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 we meant kind and compassionate. So successful. So let's go there. After you study, and after you finish all your competitions, and after you win me the gold medal, so what if you're not sleeping? And so what if childhood is escaping you, racing by you? So what? We tell our children implicitly, there's a big pot of gold, and it's called success. And the kid says, but I'm really tired right now. And we're like, you don't understand. In that pot is eternal success. It will ever give. And the kid is, but right now, I want to go to bed. Right now, I'm freaking out about my test. Right now, I'm in a panic. And you're like, don't worry. Just get through the now. Because at the end of the rainbow, I promise you. And if your child were to dare question this authority and dare to know, don't trust this person. Dare to have the wisdom to know, don't trust this elder. This elderly person doesn't know what they're talking about. If your child had the gumption to say, oh, really? And what does that success look like? And I ask you, as your child, what does that success look like? Please, pray tell me. What are the qualities of this pot of gold called success? Suffering? So suffering on the way there, and oops, look inside the pot, more suffering. That's the truth. What else? But let's pretend that we're still waiting for the end of suffering, right? Because we're pretending like at the end of suffering is success, right? Because the kid is like, I'm suffering right now, and you're like, don't worry, success is coming. This is just the way to success. Life is painful, life is hard, I have to prepare you. And the kid is like, oh, I was just born, I didn't know I'm entering a battlefield. I didn't know this was a war. Who am I fighting against? Who are these enemies? They beg us to answer. Just life. Life is the eternal enemy, we tell them. And then we tell them, but be joyful. Love life. Look at the sky. Appreciate nature. Live in the moment. But hurry up, let's go. So success, somebody give me something good to hold on to. Independence. Material wealth. Good, call it what it is. Please call success what it is. Independence, because you will have material wealth. At the end of the day, it is the dollar sign. At the end of the day, correct? Because I ask you, as a child, I do want to go to Johns Hopkins or to a great school. I do. Please do spend the $185,000 on me. But after that, I'm going to only do charity work in a village in India. And you were just about to give it all, and then you're like, oh, sorry, what did you say? So our idea of success has nothing to do with anything but material independence. Okay, no problem, that's a human quality. No problem. So we believe, though, the delusion is, first we don't own it. We use it as a catch-all phrase, throwing it to our children, making them salivate, success, success, I need success. So they robotically start saying these same dumb things, and we're just happy that they bought into it and didn't question it too much. So that's a human condition. We all want success. Nothing wrong with it. The delusion is that we don't own it, and the greater delusion is that we think we have the formula for it. But look at us. Here we are in midlife. Why is it called a crisis? Because we figured out, we opened that pot of gold, and we're like, it only has more suffering. Where is the success? Okay, so then sometimes we like, okay, because we still have energy and we're still in the delusion, we're like, oh, it's okay, this wasn't the right pot of gold. I need to marry another guy. It's okay, I'll just move to another neighborhood. I'll buy a better car. I'll just get a better job. And that poor adult child, still believing in what its parents and culture tells him, says, I'll just do it again. I'll just get a makeover, and we race again to the next one and the next one. Until life is kind to us by waking us up. Unfortunately, life has to often do it through a tragedy, because then, only then, we will stop and listen. But why do we need that? Why do we need that? Okay, let's go to happiness. So, this is for your happiness. What, Mom? I'm really, really exhausted and stressed out, and I don't even know whether I want to go to college, or I don't even know whether this is who I want to be. But we tell the kid, but this is the way to happiness. So I ask you, tell me what happiness looks like. Anyone know what happiness looks like? No pain. Correct. So basically we're saying no life. Right? We're saying only a sliver of life. So we're telling our children, we're doing this to prepare you for life. We're doing this so you can love life. We're doing this so you can enjoy life. But we're teaching them, we're only really preparing you for a hair breadth of life. Because life is full of pain. Life is full of failure. Life is full of tragedy and tragic twists and unsuspecting new adventures, as it should be. On a sunny day, it will downpour with rain. There will be a traffic jam. Somebody will tell you, oh my God, I don't want to be your friend, or your husband may leave you. Are we preparing our children for that, or only for non-pain? But that's what we're selling them. Happy, 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 happy. What does that mean? Non-pain, non-pain, which means you're deluded, right? The kid, if it could tell you, is like, I think you're deluded. Are you living in life, or are you just escaping life? Okay, what else does happiness look like? Give me a few more qualities. Yes. Sorry? Alignment. Beautiful. Yes. Knowing what you're doing. Liking what you do. And your kid comes home and says, I hate biology. And you're like, just do it now. No, and of course we have to do it, but it's the ego with which we do this is what I'm trying to tell you. I'm not saying don't make your kid do biology. I'm not saying don't have your kid brush their teeth. I'm saying with the ego that is in between us, that is the beast that needs to be tamed, because it obstructs empathy. It makes the child feel that who it is they are right now is not good enough. Because the kid is saying, I am in alignment. I was born in alignment. I know exactly who I am. I know exactly what I'm meant to do. I know the beat of my heart. I know exactly which way to turn toward the sun. I won't turn it your way, but I know how to find the sun. If you just believe in me enough. If you stop putting on me your fears because you haven't found the sun. Your kid knows if you listen. But in order to listen, that beast that we all have that comes from our pain, of not being recognized as children, of still being incomplete, of still needing validation that we now put onto our children. And we think we're self-sacrificing, right? I gave up my Ph.D., I was a dentist, I was a fashion designer. Guess what? Don't give it up for your kids, because you know what you're doing to your kid? They are your next Ph.D., right? They are your next project. And you're just displacing onto them everything you didn't finish off for yourself. There is no holiness in martyrdom, you know that, right? And none in victimhood. So all of us victims here, you know, that we pick up the violin. Every time our kid complains, we pick up the violin, but look what I did for you. After everything I've given up for you. I can't believe. How could this happen? I knew when I met my mother-in-law. I knew. So this crazy delusion that we're swimming in the waters of, I'm there with you. And when I began to discover how insane and out of control my beast of an ego is just 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, it's always there. I was brought to my knees. I thought, I've been studying psychology. I thought I'm a meditator. I thought, surely I'm in a stable marriage. I will escape this beast. And then to see that there is nothing I talk with my child that doesn't come from this beast. There's nothing I do for my child that doesn't first feed me on some level. There's nothing I push my child toward that did not first come from my agenda. Nothing, you understand? And until you're willing to look at that, bold-faced in the mirror, you are living a lie with your children, and you are not in service of their spirit. Sorry to tell you, I'm rising you to the occasion to say that I'm ready to look in the mirror. There's no other way to do this parenting thing if you want to do it in the most mindful way. You have to call yourself on your stuff. You have to see how it's driven by your inadequacy. Every post on Facebook of them eating kale and not eating donuts is you. Every gold medal, every praise, every push, how much of it is coming from your child? How much of it is led by them? How much of it is attuned to them? How much? How much? Very, very little. Scarily so. Very little. I have met parents of 6 months old who have predetermined their future. The other day, a mother of a 17-month-old said to me, baby in her arms, I cannot understand. I have to enroll this kid in a $50,000 pre-K in order to make sure she gets into a good grad school or marries the right person, because God forbid George Washington's great-great-great-great-great-grandson is in her class. Can't miss that opportunity of creating great alumni relationships. She's like, I'm already paralyzed. I'm already handcuffed. And so are you, and so am I. We are all in a rat race. You know it, you hate it, but you're part of it. And you're creating it and taking me along with you, and I'm there with you. We're all part of this, and we all hate it. And the first question you're going to ask me is, how do you opt out? How do you opt out? Because the pressure you feel, and your kid will be not ahead of the curve, and you're going to create a loser in your kid, and you're going to disadvantage your kid. This is what you've been fed on, you see? So your fear to create a new mainstream is paralyzing, and I understand it. I'm not asking you to blow apart mainstream, all of it. I'm asking you to start with recognizing the beast of your ego. What does that mean? That you bring into every moment with your kid more you than who your kid is, simply put. That it's always more you. Your kid is crying. I didn't get called to a party, to a sweet 16. How are you going to react? Give me a predictable way you're going to react. You're going to put yourself right there first, right? First, your heart is going to start racing. I never got called as well, and I was always a bystander, and I was always left out, and all your insecurities are going to come out. Or your control monster is going to come out. What? You didn't get called? Let me fix it. Let me call the mother. Let me make sure. Let me do something. You. And the kid is like, no, I just want to have my feelings. And you're like, what's that? We can't have feelings, because remember, life is happy, 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 happy. Let's be happy. So we cheat our children from the present moment, which is where children eternally are. And you see children at the age of 2 in the present moment, age of 4, half in the present moment, age of 7, already leaving the present moment. And then you're like, I can't believe my teenager is so rude to me. Because you have abducted them from their being state. You have despirited them systematically. And you're like, I can't believe he's not motivated. I can't believe he shuts me out. I can't believe the door is shut and they don't want to talk to me after everything I've done. Well, what we've done, you and I included, is systematically despirit them. Systematically. And this culture is letting us. So my book is saying no more. Look at this. This culture that says we should know how to raise a child. Don't buy into it. You shouldn't know, you should learn, you should be humble, you should be curious, you should learn from your child. The culture that says my kid needs to be ahead of the curve and successful, says who? What is success? Question that, please. Don't go to the slaughterhouse pretending you know, because you are going to the slaughterhouse. But at least wake up to the fact that you don't know. You don't know. You don't know what makes success. To me, I'll tell you. So you can now follow my way of success, right? No, I'm kidding. What I've seen in years of therapy, and I draw it from that, not from any intellectual prowess, from true experience. What I've seen with 50-year-olds, with us struggling in a room with a therapist is this, that they have forgotten the path to their authentic self. And therapy is only about unlayering, 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 unlayering to go back to what they began with. So this is why I write what I write, pleading with parents, They came whole, they are whole, they have the way, it's imprinted in them. So don't layer them so that they can become more and more de-spirited, so that then they reach midlife. If they're lucky, then they start back again to uncover, to come back to the original essential self. So to me, success, knowing that I will still contaminate it, but as best I can, is to keep my child's finger on the pulse of her inner being as much as I can. So the other day, we go to a competition, and the mother, that's me, which is you, you'll all see yourself in this example. You buy the outfit, and you iron the clothes, and the bow, and the ribbon, or the cleats, and the shoes, and you're ready. Super parent. And you take your kid off to the competition, and then they win. And you're like, see, I knew I was doing something right. This is the right thing for us, because winning is only good things, more to come. Winning is taking us closer to that pot of gold. And then they win. And you say to them what? Or where is your head going? And where's the long reel of your next movie going? This was just the neighborhood contest or competition down the park or down the street. But where are you going now? Nationals. We're going to the top of the line. Scholarships. This is how he's going to get into college. This is it. And the kid is like, I just went for a 30-minute little race around the track, Mom. And you're like, you don't understand. I see your potential. I see glory. I told you I can look into the future. This is another example. And the poor kid is like, it was just a hobby. Like, what, didn't you tell me to have hobbies? And you're like, a hobby? Hobbies are hobbies only for losers. Once you become a winner, it becomes a professional accomplishment. It becomes a whole profession. Hobbies are for losers. They are. So I've discovered. What do you put on the resume? You can't put hobbies. Oh, I dabbled in sewing and embroidery and a little bit of cross stitch. No. You have to list the league, the competition, the medals. So when did childhood become this race to professional glory and achievement? And then you wonder why our kids are burning out by the age of 21. So the delusions we are swimming in are toxic. So as I was saying, my daughter went to the competition, me, the mother, full of ego, ironing and beautifying her and dressing her up, and it was a horse competition. And first she was very nervous, and so of course I had to enter my Zen and say, this is only about the moment, this is only about the process, about your love for the horse. And I was just, singing my lines because I know how to sing them well, thinking that it was true. Thinking, oh, look how zen I am. I'm not upset about her anxiety. I'm not saying don't be anxious. I'm not pulling out the dagger that's just waiting to come out. No, I'm being so zen. I'm like, it's all about the moment. Look at your horse. It's a relationship. Who cares about the people watching you? Who cares? And my daughter's saying, then why have you brought me here? I'm like, who cares? And you have selective hearing. You're like, forget about that, because you read somewhere that competition and grit builds character. And so what if the child doesn't want to be under a microscope? It builds character. So there your child goes, and then your child wins. And what greater honey to the ego than a win? And so I thought we had cemented this. This was a done deal. See, you had nothing to be afraid of. See, you won. And in my adult stupidity, I presumed the anxiety was around losing. And she looked at me and she said, I will never do this again. I said, but you won. And then we have a tape recorder. But you won. But you won. But you won. But you won. And she's like, you told me it wasn't about winning. I go, yeah, but when you win, it's about winning. But you won. But you won. I'm like, I can't believe you're not into this gratification. I can't believe you don't love winning. I love when you win. You don't love it? And she took out her bows, and they each cost like $30. I'm like, no, don't throw them. And then she took out all the fancy things that come with such an elitist hobby as horse riding. But I'm like, no sacrifice is too great for glory. So she threw them all down, and she said, I will never. I'm like, but you won, but you maybe you didn't hear, you won. And she said, I will never, ever, ever. And I said, why? And she said, because I don't need to win to love horses. And I said, don't you pull some profound thing on me, child. And I said, you're not thinking right. We will discuss this later. The lessons our children teach us is that they are ready to be unidentified by labels, that they are ready to be detached from the end product, just like those monks taught me to be and teach us to be, that they do not need the pot of gold at the end to be aligned, which is success, or to be independent. They will find their way to materialism if that's what they want, but the rest of it, the independence we say will come in the pot of gold, or the happiness, or the joy, or the peace, or the knowing, or the alignment, they have it already. Now, if you want to keep despiriting them, own it. Own it. Don't pretend you're doing it for them, because all you're doing is participating in a mass forgetting, a forgetting that you and I are in, and trying to remember, who am I? Who am I? How do I be me? How do I not care about what my neighbor down the street thinks of me? How do I not be plagued by not being in a group, or not having status, or not being rich enough, or pretty enough, or thin enough? So I'm still plagued, so I'm just going to pretend that my kid doesn't want to be plagued, forgetting that the kid wasn't plagued in the first place. So in all sort of twisted, wonderful, predictable, each one of us doing the same thing. Every house has the same issues, the same reactions, the same fear. What if my kid falls behind? The same thing, is something wrong with my kid? Projection, projection, projection of our lack, our lack, our lack. We walk into our kids' room. What is the first thing we say to them after a day long at work? What is the first thing we say to our kid? Hi, hello, and then? How was your day? Clean your room. Did you do your homework? Have you had a shower? Get out of bed, get into bed, get into the shower, get out of the shower. What's wrong with you? You don't do anything fast? Why are you racing through the day? Why don't you take a moment and pause? So we bark orders after orders after orders. And the day just flies. And then another day flies. And to us it's okay, you see, because we've bought into the myth, the belief, that childhood is really a waste of time. Because that's how we're acting. We're acting like this childhood, waste of time. Only place of importance, legitimacy is what? Adulthood, where we are having a jolly good time, right? So we race, we race, we race, we race, we race, and our kids are tired, and they're burning out, and they're stressing out, and they're scared to come home and tell you that they had a bad grade, and they're scared to tell you that you don't understand who I am, and I don't know how to talk to you. But there's nothing we care about, because we are just getting to the pot of gold in 30 years. So I'm asking you today, in a somber and serious and revolutionary way, rethink what you're putting forth for your children. Childhood is 10 years short. 10 years, you've truncated already. And then you ask them to be sitting on a foundation of health. You ask them to be sitting on goodness and well-being. Why do you think you and I run dry? Why do you think you and I are running on empty? Because it was stolen from us in some way too. Much less, I believe, than what we're doing with our children. So the time for this madness stops in talks like this, where you go home and you rethink. Ask yourself, where is this coming from? Why am I pushing my kid in this way? Why do I shame my kid? Why do I only move to control before connection? Do I not know how to stay in an open heart? Do I not know how to feel my feelings and honor my child's feelings? Do I just not care about feelings? Is that what this life is about, for me to teach my kid that who they are is not important, only what they do? Do I dare to tell my kid, I will now listen to you. You lead the way, I'm here. Do I dare say that this summer we connect? Do I dare say I let go of scheduled activities ad nauseum? Do I dare say, I no longer look at failure with jaundiced eyes, but now I welcome failure because it'll teach you and I. So I will not teach you to be pervertedly afraid, deathly paranoid of this thing which is inevitable, which is failure. Do I dare tell you, my child, that I am going to help you create a new mainstream where you stand implanted in who you are, full in your own being. Yes, you may take twists and turns and fall off many cliffs and get bruised, and your heart may shatter open, but I'm here to be your witness and your usher, no longer pretending that I have every answer. I will now walk beside you and maybe behind you, but no longer in front of you. Because when I walk in front of you, the only person there is my unmet child, is my forgotten self. And I will no longer serve my forgotten self through your body, through your life. I will leave preserved your life as yours. This is the greatest gift we can give our children. And in doing so, our children will give us freedom. They will teach us how to enter, re-enter the present moment. And like that broom with that monk, in that moment, they will teach you to be detached to the past and will say, this is a new moment, this is a new moment, this is a new moment. So when you go home today, enter this moment. You may have screwed up yesterday, you may have yelled yesterday, you may have frothed venom just 2 minutes ago, but now you're in a new moment, and enter that moment with presence. Stop, be still, find out who are you. Listen to what your child is saying, to their energy. Take away your ego and go, I am in your service. Thank you for listening.